Hello and welcome to Toya Talks Wrestling, and today let's talk a little bit about what happened on Smackdown last Friday. I don't remember what day it was. March 16th or some shit like that. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about what happened. So we had Jade Cargill call out Rhea Ripley, basically telling, Rhea, like, she don't need this title. Jade doesn't need this title. Jade doesn't need the title. She doesn't need this company. She's gonna be a star regardless and everything else. She don't need the people and all this other stuff. He knows that Rhea Ripley does need this title to be somebody and everything else. And Rhea Ripley is like, no, I don't need the title. The title needs me, blah, 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 and everything else. And Rhea Ripley's like, look, we can keep talking or we can start fighting. It's up to you. And Jade Cargill goes like, no, we're gonna do it on my time, and leaves the ring. As she's leaving the ring, here comes B-Fab and Michin. And B-Fab and Michin have pretty much some beef with Jade Cargill since like forever, and they are like coming after her and everything else. So they're like standing in the way, and you have Rhea Ripley in the ring, and the next thing you know, I guess, B-Fab and Michin are now in cahoots with Jade Cargill, because they ended up standing side by side next to her, and Jade Cargill had a big old smile on her face, and Rhea Ripley was like, what the fuck is happening? And they started surrounding the ring. And I'm thinking to myself, Rhea, you couldn't just go out the other side. There's only 3 of them, and there's like 4 sides, and you can go out the side that is not there and go through the audience or whatever. But stay, I guess, and get your ass kicked. And that's what happened. They beat her up. With the Michin had a kendo stick and kept hitting her and all stuff like that. So I don't know what this new group it's supposed to do for any of these ladies in it, but we'll see what happens. I don't know how it's gonna help. I don't know how it's gonna help. I guess it can't hurt, but I don't know how it's gonna help. But we'll see what happens there. We had Candice LeRae with her husband Johnny Gargano, who's still depressed, and we had Danhausen come in, and then he asked Danhausen, can you fix this, and everything else, and he asked for $20 human, and she gave him $20 human, and then turned around and talked to like Gargano, saying like, I know this is silly and I shouldn't ask him for help and everything else like that. By that time, Danhausen's already gone, and she turned around and he's like, where did he go, and everything else like that. So he never said he was going to help her. He just asked for $20 human. That's all. So we had some segments with the Bellas and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, basically telling them like, because Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss told them because of them they lost their chances at getting the titles, and saying that don't worry, we're not gonna come out there and everything else and do what you guys did. And they're like, the Bellas is like, no, you should come out how things are done and everything else like that. So they had their match. The Bella Twins had a match with the, what are they called again? Oh my god, I keep forgetting their fucking name. Nia and Lash for the title. Ended up in a disqualification when Charlotte Flair got involved, or I guess like Nia, I don't know, was Nia was trying to hit somebody with the championship or some shit like that. Charlotte got in their face, and then they ended up getting disqualified because the Bellas did, because Charlotte hit Nia for some reason, I can't remember. But anyway, it ended up at the end where like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were fighting with the Bella Twins. So next Friday, which I guess is this Friday, is going to be the Bellas versus Charlexa, and that's also going to be ended up in some kind of fucking shenanigans, and we're going to fucking get a multi tag teams for the titles at WrestleMania. We have a segment with basically Julia telling, Kiana James that she should have beaten Tiffany and everything else like that. Blah 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 and all this other stuff. And Chelsea Green comes in and says, you know, my enemy of my enemy is my friend, so let's work together. And Julia's like, she's not gonna work with Chelsea Green and everything else like that. This Friday we have a match between Julia versus Tiffany for the Women's United States Championship. My guess is hopefully that maybe Chelsea Green, because Chelsea Green's supposed to be injured. I don't know if she's cleared yet, but hopefully she is cleared, and hopefully she starts some kind of distraction and we get a triple threat match for the title at WrestleMania between Julia, Tiffany Stratton, and Chelsea Green. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they don't fucking have this Tiffany beat Julia so close to fucking WrestleMania, because my god, the disrespect, right? So I'm hoping it's to be a triple threat match. That's what I'm hoping for, so cross on that one. Is there any other ladies stuff that happened that's worth talking about? I don't think so. So let's just move on to the gentlemen. We had a tag team match for the tag team titles. We had the MFTs. I think it was JC Mateo and was it Tamatanga that were defending the titles. I don't know. I guess anybody who in the MFTs can defend these titles. I guess whatever. I don't know how it works. I guess it's like a New Day thing. You know, like remember like New Day when like it was either like, you know, Woods or Big E or Kofi Kingston. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But we had them, and we had the number one contenders who had won their spot in a gauntlet match. A couple of Fridays ago was R-Truth and Damian Priest, which by the way they were in Raleigh, North Carolina, which I believe that's what R-Truth's hometown is, or his home state at least. Ended up where the Wyatt Six come out and pretty much, you know, cause a distraction, and they were fighting with the MFTs that were on the outside of the ring and everything else. And I think Uncle Howdy ends up coming in, and he gets, was it JC Mateo and the mandible claw, and pretty much throws him in back into the ring, and R-Truth ends up getting the pin on JC Mateo. So now we have new tag team champions with Damian Priest and R-Truth, which R-Truth is 50 years old and he has the title in the year 2026. So let's not say WWE does not give titles to the veterans. They do. That being said, it was funny because you would see the look on Damian Priest's face, like he was in shock, like what the whoa, whatever. But you know, congratulations. I'm glad. Hopefully they get to go take their tag teams into WrestleMania and fight off somebody else, and we can get more tag teams going on and everything else like that. Speaking of tag teams, we had Fraxium versus the Motor City Machine Guns. That was a very good match, but it ended up with Candice LeRae being the Machine Guns, the Motor City, because she ended up hitting one of the Fraxium guys, and for some reason, not Shelly, but the other guy on Motor City didn't see Candice LeRae there, but Shelly did, and Shelly saw what she did and everything else and stuff like that. And the Motor City Machine Guns have been having a little bit of problems with each other and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on. I hope they don't break up. I hope they don't break up and stuff like that, because we only have so many tag teams going on. So please don't break up, right? Jelly Roll's on Smackdown. Apparently he had some things with Kit Wilson, but he also had some segments with Randy Orton, which I'll go talk about later. And he had a segment with other people as well. So Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson basically called out Jelly Roll, saying that they're gonna fight man on man, and they're gonna have a real fight and everything else. And Jelly Roll's like, alright, go get a referee, let's fight. And he's like, no, not that kind of fight, you brute. You know, what's wrong with you, right? I go, we're gonna have a fight with our words. And then Jelly Roll was like, we're gonna have a rap battle? Like, what? Like, look. Like, I think you're a good dancer. I don't think you would be a good rapper. And then Kit Wilson's like, no, we're doing a slam poetry battle. And he's like, oh, what? After I said, I'm like, alright. So then they had this poetry battle between, basically ended up with Kit Wilson talking about how, like, how, you know, Jelly Roll can see his wee now because, you know, he lost all the weight. And then Jelly Roll's like, I didn't need to see my willy because your mom saw it for me. It was just weird and gross. But anyway, Kit Wilson ends up attacking Jelly Roll. Later on, Jelly Roll confronted Nick Aldis saying that he wanted Kit Wilson next week. So this Friday was going to be Kit Wilson versus Jelly Roll. So we'll see what happens there. Because I know that Kit Wilson is in cahoots with, what's his face? The Miz and Danhausen. Which also Danhausen had a segment with The Miz where apparently, I don't know if The Miz is cursed yet, like fully cursed yet, but he has been having like things that happen to him, like ladders like almost falling on him and shit like that, and it's just this really bad shit going on and everything else like that. But I don't know. He also had Carmelo Hayes defending his title against Ilya Dragunov. After Ilya Dragunov backstage was like, look, I have been avoiding you, you're right, I think I'm ready to fight you now. So they had this great amazing match. Of course they did, why would they not? And it ended up with Carmelo Hayes retaining the title. Now I don't know what this means for Ilya Dragunov. I don't know if they have another match. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, maybe he turns heel. Who knows? I don't know. I'm waiting to see what happens. But it was a great match. We had a segment backstage with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was talking to I think it was Cassie Kelly. Cassie Kelly was asking him about the incident between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes last week. And, you know, Sami Zayn's like, you know, Cody Rhodes is a good guy. He tries to be good. He tries to do a good thing and everything else like that. But then you have Randy Orton, who just does what he wants to do and everything else. It's like, I try to be good and it doesn't work out, stuff like that. And it's like, maybe I should start doing things the other way. I don't know. Right? And then here comes Trick Williams, and Trick Williams is like telling, Sami Zayn, he's like, hey, you remember when you told me I couldn't get the job done with Jacob Fatu? Because he beat Jacob Fatu with the help of Drew McIntyre, but still, he still pinned Jacob Fatu. He was supposed and everything else like that. Well, I beat him and everything else like that, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to watch your match with Aleister Black, because Sami Zayn had a match with Aleister Black. And, so he's like, Sammy's like, yeah, go watch, see how it's done, stuff like that. And so you had a match, like I said, with Sami Zayn and Aleister Black, and fucking Trick Williams comes out, and obviously the fucking crowd is going crazy. The crowd was going whoop that trick as the match was going on, as if they're not even paying attention to Sami Zayn or Aleister Black. And it ended up with Trick Williams when Sami Zayn, because Trick Williams was outside, in the chair, whatever, sitting and stuff like that. I guess he said something to Sami and stuff like that, and Sami got into his face, and Trick Williams ends up throwing water on Sami Zayn's back, and the referee was counting, and I think Sami went in and then went back out and beat the shit out of Trick Williams and laid him out on the outside, and then he comes back in and gets Black mask, and it was so beautifully done. Oh my god, they did the slow-mo right on the fucking jaw. It was great. It was fucking fantastic. And Aleister Black didn't even pin him right there. He was just like sitting there, he was just standing there just like taking it all in, like, yeah, just fuck this guy up. And go for the pin, 1, 2, 3. He got pinned, and I was like, that was fucking beautiful. I don't know what Aleister Black is doing, if he's doing anything at WrestleMania. I don't know. I think he probably should be doing something, but I can see that Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn should be a WrestleMania match. I don't see why would it not be, but we will see. We will see. Speaking of Randy Orton cut a couple of promos. He did a promo on the. He comes out to the ring, and he basically says that, you know, for a long time the audience, the fans would sing his songs, and he loves it. He will see a kid saying, "Hey, it's my birthday," and he'll take a picture and he sign his autograph, and he'll be like, he knows that kid will remember that for the rest of his life, and it felt good and everything else like that. And he was so happy to do it, but he's like, he always wants number 15. He wants to get that title. And when Drew McIntyre was a champion, it was easy because he could be exactly who he needed to be in order to get that title, because it was Drew McIntyre. But then when it came Cody Rhodes, it became complicated because he loves Cody Rhodes. That's his brother, you know? That's his young brother, you know, he loves him. He didn't want to hurt him and everything else. But since Cody Rhodes gave the okay for Randy Orton to be who he needed to be in order to get number 15, you know, he opened up that door. Randy Orton had to do what Randy Orton had done, and he fucking attacked Cody Rhodes because Randy Orton said that the voices in his head, they control him and he can't help himself. Which, okay, makes sense, you know. They control him, you know. He started saying the lyrics to his theme song and told him that the voices told him that he's going to win number 15 at WrestleMania. And I was like, oh, at WrestleMania? Okay, cool. I was wondering when you were going to win that one. I thought maybe it could be at Backlash or something. I'm glad you break it down. He ended up going backstage where he ran into Matt Cardona, and Matt Cardona was like, you know, like, what was up with you and Cody last week and everything else? Like, why did you do that? And Randy Orton was like, basically like, you know what, mind your business. You know, called him a, what did he call him? Some kind of like, you're nothing. Go back to, he told him to go back to play with his action figures and said that he was nothing but a indie something mark or something like that. I don't know. It was funny. They ended up hitting him to the ground and telling him to basically mind his business, right? And then Randy Orton had a segment, like I said, with oh, by the way, before I move on, Matt Cardona went to Nick Aldis and he was like, I want a match with Randy tonight because, you know, he disrespected me. And Nick Aldis is like, look, I'm dealing with a lot right now. You cannot have that match. Okay, no. So Matt Cardona just ends up leaving. You know, I'm like, okay, you're not even gonna fight for that? Okay, cool, whatever. But sure. Anyway, like I said, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll had a segment backstage where basically Jelly Roll cut like a promo to Randy Orton, basically saying, hey, I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why you're trying to be the person that you fought about. I don't know why you're trying to be the same person that you know you came over and everything else like that. That's not you. You're better than that and everything else like that. And Randy Orton's like, well, you know, I don't even know what to do. You know, I don't know how to fix this. And Jelly Roll's like, I think you know how to fix it. I think you need to do an apology and stuff like that. And he's like, you're right, man. And they pretty much hugged it out and everything else. So then later we had Randy Orton talking to, I'm guessing, the same person that he talked to on Raw. We don't know who he's talking to on Raw because they never mention it. And they never mentioned it here either. They never even mentioned that he was on the phone. Like, neither, Randy didn't mention it in his promo when he was out in the ring. Neither did the commentaries, what was it, Joe and Wade. They didn't mention anything about no phone call either. So we don't know nothing about this phone call. We don't know who it is. It's either, I'm guessing it's either Kevin Owens or it could be his dad. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out sooner than later. And so now Randy Orton, who by the way kind of shitted on the audience earlier in this promo, and the audience didn't care. The audience is still fucking chanting Randy, RKO. Like, we don't give a shit, right? And so Randy comes out yet again, and he's like, he gets the mic and he's like, look, I need to apologize to you, the audience. Next week I need to apologize to Cody Rhodes, but Matt Cardona, please come out. I owe you an apology as well, so come on out and everything else. So here comes Matt Cardona. He comes out, and Randy Orton's like, look, I'm not in my head right now, I'm not in the right space, not going on right now and everything else. But, you know, I shouldn't have said anything about your action figures. Look, man, I play video games, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I know we've known each other for like 20 years. I apologize and everything else. Goes in there and puts his hand off our handshake, and Matt Cardona puts his, shakes his hand, and they go in for an embrace and everything else, and does another handshake, and Randy Orton ends up kicking Matt Cardona in the dick, cause I don't know what is it with the dick kicks in WWE, but everybody needs to be kicked in the dick. I don't know why. Okay, but sure. So he kicks him in the dick. RK's owed him. Pulls his shirt off, beats the crap out of him. Pretty much did the same shit he did with Cody Rhodes. Throws him outside the ring onto the announce desk, gets the stairs, and he's about to do the same shit he did with with Matt Cardona. He did with Cody Rhodes. Only the security guard and Nick Aldis come out, and they stopped him, and Matt Cardona goes crawling outside into the ring, and Randy Orton gets away, and he gets a chair. He's like about to beat the shit out of him again. He puts Matt Cardona's arm into the chair, and then here comes security and Nick Aldis again. They stopped him. Now Matt Cardona has like about between 20 to 30 seconds to get this chair off his arm, but does he do that? No, he don't. No. Instead, Randy Orton gets free, and he stomps the fucking chair and pretty much breaks fucking Matt Cardona's arm. Not really, but whatever. So now I guess Matt Cardona has a broken arm, and his wife Chelsea Green has a broken ankle. Cool. I mean, sure. But yeah, and it ended up with Randy Orton like they start doing that, and then they try to hold Randy Orton back again as they're pulling him outside the ring. And this audience loves Matt Cardona so much that they started chanting one more time for Randy Orton to break the other arm, because they love Matt Cardona. That's all I can say. I don't even know. I don't even know. But yeah, that's what happened there, and it ended up with. So the security guys end up all running backstage because of some segment that happened backstage, which I'm going to talk about right now. So I'm going to talk about what happened in the beginning of the show, because the beginning of the show were the same two people who ended the show. So in the beginning of the show, like before anything else, we had Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu fighting on the parking lot, where Drew McIntyre was pretty much like manhandling fucking Jacob Fatu on top of a fucking car. And Drew McIntyre, the security guys finally separate them, and Drew McIntyre comes into the ring, or comes in through the crowd with a microphone talking about, hey, Nick Aldis, this is your fault. Because, by the way, we were supposed to have a match between Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre on Smackdown that night. We never did. And Drew McIntyre's like, look, this is your fault and everything else like that, Nick Aldis. I'm supposed to be champion. I'm supposed to be going into, you know, WrestleMania as champion and everything else. And you screwed me and you need to fix this. And Nick Aldis is like, I didn't screw you. You screwed yourself. And he's like, you know, you didn't want to defend the title. You didn't want to do this. You want to do that. As they were talking, here comes Jacob Fatu, and he starts attacking he starts attacking Drew McIntyre. So now they're fighting again. Here comes security. They're fighting again and everything else. Let me tell you, through the whole 3-hour segment of this show, every once in a while, you will see Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre fighting. They were fighting over here, they were fighting over there. They had a segment with the MFTs after they lost their titles, and Solo was pissed off at the MFTs and telling them, like, berating them and stuff like that. And, you know, Tama Tonga's like, you know, maybe we should give back the lantern because you're not yourself, you're being like Roman. And Solo was about to say something, but then here comes Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, and they're fighting and everything else and all this other stuff. And like I said, at the end of the show, all the people who were like holding Randy Orton back from Matt Cardona all left, because there was on the Titantron, or the big fucking screen, they show McIntyre and Jacob Fatu basically outside, and they're on top of this construction thing. I don't know, there's like a white fence, you can't see through the fucking white fence, but they're on top of this construction something, I don't know. They're fighting up there and everything else, and they both end up falling from that structure behind the white fucking fence. We don't know what they fell on, but we're supposed to believe that they fell to the ground, and with Nick Aldis basically calling a medic and stuff like that. So clearly we're gonna have some kind of stipulation match with these two. I'm guessing Hell in a Cell match. Why Hell in a Cell? Because look, I mean, they could do a Falls Count Anywhere match, but it's like, it's gonna just end up being like around the ring or outside, like in the, I want like a Falls Count Anywhere match. I want them to go like outside, like I want to go on the strip of Vegas, you know what I'm saying, and fight on there, you know, and stuff like that. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, go into the boiler room, go to the parking lot. I want to see that kind of shit, but I don't think so. And I think that because they need to be contained in one spot, it should be Hell in a Cell, you know, and not a cage match. I mean, I guess they could do a cage match, but I think Hell in a Cell would be a lot more better for the situation and stuff like that. But maybe that might be a little bit too soon. I don't know. But all I know is we're gonna get some kind of stipulation match at WrestleMania. All I know is that. I don't know what kind. I would like to see a Hell in a Cell, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was Smackdown last week, so we'll see what's going on. Cody Rhodes returns this Friday, so I'm waiting to see what he has to say and what kind of, and how he's going to approach this Randy Orton situation and everything else like that. I'm pretty sure he's gonna cut a mean babyface clean promo, because he's really good at that, so I'm excited. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.